Today I'm going to walk you through my tail care routine with Martini. So, let's get started. This is our little before and after. Doesn't it look great? I usually wash his tail every once in a while, so this is more of a tail makeover for him. So, let's get washing. These are all the products we're going to be using on his tail today. I'm first going to start out by rinsing his tail thoroughly with water. Make sure your horse is comfortable with being sprayed down with water before you go up behind them and spray them. Martini's really good with this. I already know that he's going to be a good boy, so I didn't have to worry. But always make sure that your horse is comfortable before you do stuff, and make sure to stay safe. Especially when you're behind there spraying his tail in his blind spot. Make sure your horse knows you're there, and make sure that you are sure that they're comfortable with what you're doing. Next, I'm going to use this mane and tail shampoo to shampoo his tail. So all I did here is I poured a little glob of it into my hand, and then I lathered his tail up, just like you would with any shampoo. Once it is completely lathered, I'll rinse it off thoroughly with water. Once the tail is thoroughly rinsed, I will use the mane and tail conditioner to condition the tail. With the conditioner, I'll pour a little bit on his tail and then rub it through. If your horse's tail is super thick, super long, or super tangly, I'd recommend brushing it out after you rub the conditioner in. This makes it a lot easier to brush through, and it doesn't pull out so many hairs, and it keeps your horse's tail nice and thick. Brushing it after the conditioner is in also prevents lots of breakage. Martini's tail is pretty short and not very tangly, so I brush his tail later in the video. Once the conditioner is fully rubbed through, I'll rinse it thoroughly with water. After rinsing the tail out thoroughly, I'm going to remove all the excess water from the tail. Again, if your horse's tail is long, really tangly, or really thick, I'd recommend spraying ShowSheen before you brush. But since Martini's tail is pretty short and not very tangly, I decided not to. So, the next thing I did was brush the tail out thoroughly. Even if you brush the tail out with the conditioner, I'd also recommend brushing right after you squeegee out all that excess water. This prepares the tail for the braid. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to braid the tail. Marty's tail is pretty short, so I can't just do a single braid, so I decided to do a French braid. So I'm just going to French braid the tail all the way down and put it in a rubber band. Make sure not to braid the tail too tight if you do a French braid, and make sure to take it out the day after because you do not want to be losing circulation in the tail. I use these Teenitor bands, and I use 3 of them just for extra security. I did hear that using electric tape instead of the rubber bands helps prevent breakage, so I'll have to look into that. Here's the tail all nice and braided. Today I'll be using rockin' tailbags to keep my horse's tail nice and protected. And here's my little collection. I usually spray the tail one more time with ShowSheen just for good measure before it goes into the tail bag. Then I'll go ahead and put the tail bag on. I usually put this tail bag a little bit higher so that the bottom doesn't come out. His tail is pretty short, so I like to put it up kind of on his tailbone. But when you put it around his tailbone, make sure to undo the braid in the tail bag the day after so you don't lose circulation in the tail. And here's the tail in the tail bag. I decided to choose this design today, and I love it. And here's the after. Thank you guys for watching, and please follow my Instagram, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you guys. Bye!